we are back. Welcome everybody back to my 32 fan series. And I will be honest, I'm having a day, but seeing that did make me smile. So that was good to see. So that made me excited. So welcome everybody back. This is the series where I talk to 32 different fans from all 32 of the NFL teams. And it's important for me to do this because I feel like this brings more information out than we would usually get from the news. Because I'll be honest, there's not a lot of times I turn on the news and I see Panthers anything or, insert other team here. So I love doing this. So thank you for joining me. And then before you introduce yourself, of course, all of your information will be in the description. So if anybody wants to find you, they can immediately find you there. Other than that, I will stop talking. They're here for you, not for me. So if you want to just introduce yourself, let us know who you are and how long you've been a Panthers fan.
Yeah, so I'm a lot of people call me T or T-Tom. Been a Panthers fan pretty much since I was about 6, maybe 5 or 6. My dad was kind of the reason I became a Panthers fan because we lived in Charlotte, and I'm from Charlotte, so that's kind of why I became a Panthers fan. It just kind of stuck. I think that was kind of like me and my dad's way of bonding, was like us both being Panther fans. So it just kind of stuck. So I've been a Panther fan now for 25 years or so, probably.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So how is it being a Panthers fan right now? So you all went to the playoffs, which was big. Obviously, still had a losing record, but you were in the playoffs, like you were there. Yeah. So how is it being a Panthers fan right now? Like, how are you feeling? How is the fan base? Like, what are your thoughts right now?
I think for the first time in like 7 years, we're like actually optimistic about our future. Because obviously, after the Cam Newton era, after the Ron Rivera era, it was just dark. We went through the Matt Rule era. It was terrible. We went through the short period of Frank Reich era. It was terrible. Didn't even last but 10 games. And then, it took Canales a year to kind of get things going. And this year, we definitely start seeing things turn. And if I could add in there the Scott Fitterer era too, because he was a part of all that mess as a GM. So I think now for the first time in, like I said, like 6 or 7 off seasons, I think as a fan base, we're kind of like finally optimistic, if I can tell you the truth. I think we actually finally feel like we have a chance. And it probably helps that our division is a little down right now too. I'll be flat out honest with you. But I feel like now we actually have a legitimate optimistic vibe in our fan base, which again, it's probably been since like 2019. 2020 since that's happened. So it's been a while. So I feel like for the first time, we're actually pretty optimistic as a fan base.
I love that. And it's nice when teams that have kind of been through that rise back up and they're back to being excited and back to being happy, because I feel like it makes just football conversation better because everybody
does
talk trash or do whatever they need to do. I love that. And I know that your division loves to talk trash to each other also. So I'm sure you all have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Everybody in our division. The Bucs are probably the most quietest out of our division, but the Falcons and the Saints take up enough for the Bucs. So yeah.
I have a theory. So of this recording, I've already recorded with Falcons fan, and I have a theory that it's kind of like SEC football.
Yeah, it kind of is.
And I feel like those fans just kind of carry. It's like you talk trash SEC, you talk trash NFL, like it's like the same type of thing. Yeah. But it's very interesting. So how is the draft for you all?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What you say?
No, go ahead. Tell me about it.
I was going to say something real quick just to kind of piggyback off what we were just talking about. I was going to say it's kind of weird in the NFC South because it's like,
if you like the content that you're getting, don't forget to hit that like button. Leave us a comment in the comment section below, and I'll let you get back to your video.
People kind of pick and choose their rivalries, if that makes sense. So like, I feel like the Panthers, we get excluded out of a lot of the rivalries. Like the Saints and the Falcons, they make themselves a big deal, but they're like, oh, we don't really care about Carolina. Only when we're good, then they care. Or like the Saints would be like, oh, we don't really look at the Panthers as rivals. They're little brother, but we do kind of rival with the Saints and the Bucs. So it's like that, or the Falcons and the Bucs. So it's kind of like those type of things. Sorry, continue on.
No, it's okay. So y'all are like the stepchildren. Y'all are like the outcast of the group.
I feel like because we've been bad the last couple of years, like I feel like they've now like kind of like made us, which I can understand. We were irrelevant for the last 6 or so years, so I can't even really get like that mad at them, to be quite frankly honest. But I think that kind of does play a role sometime. Yeah.
Okay. So how was the draft? How are you feel about the draft? What are some things, like, if you could use one word to describe the draft, what one word would you use to describe it? And then tell me how you felt about it.
So I thought we actually did a really good job. So at first, well, to answer your first question, I think the word I would use is versatility. We have a lot of different type of players within our draft class. And not just because they're different positions, of course, but like all of them bring in something different. Like, for example, Morgan Freeland, who's our first round left tackle pick, he's going to bring in depth and stability for us. Stability is something that we struggled with on the O-line the last couple of years because people have been getting hurt. Obviously, Icky is hurt now, like broke fibula, so he's probably going to miss the majority of the beginning of this year or whatever the case may be. So I think he brings stability. When you talk about a guy like Sam Heck, again, offensive lineman, he was in the 5th round. He brings us a little bit of more solidifying the middle of the O-line because he's going to be playing center. And I think he's actually going to probably play earlier than later, if I can be quite frankly honest with you, the 5th round from Kansas State. I think that's going to be somebody. I personally thought he was the best center in the draft, and we got him in the 5th round, so I'm not going to complain there at all. But I think he brings something for us as well. I think when you think about Chris Brazell, right, the 4th round draft pick from Tennessee wide receiver, he brings us speed, something that we've lacked a lot of at wide receiver position, and be able to create separation. So I think when I think about our draft, I look at, like, I feel like we've got a variety of different things, which I like. I think that's important. I think that's big, and I like it. So I'm a huge fan of our draft class. I really liked pretty much all. There was really no pick I was like, ew, I don't like. Like, even the Monroe Freeland one, at first I was like, why are we taking a left tackle when Mekhi Lemon is still on the board? So I was kind of feeling some type of way about that at first. But then again, when you think about, you can't ever really go wrong with getting more O-linemen. Like, you just can't.
Nope.
So and to me, I think I even said this. I thought he was the second best left tackle outside of my guy from Miami. I think his name is slipping me right now. Manoa or something like that.
Francis something.
Yeah, Francis Magio or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So I thought that he was the second best tackle in the class. You know, I was actually surprised that Blake Miller went before, and I'm a Clemson fan, you know this. I was actually surprised Blake Miller went before Freeland because I always thought Freeland was like better than him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't complain honestly, but yeah, I like our draft class. I'm pretty satisfied with it, honestly.
Is there a day 2 or day 3 pick that you think is going to end up being a steal?
I think I kind of just brought it up. I think Sam Heck is going to be really good. Yeah. Like, I think, to me, I always thought he was the best center. I thought it was between him and John Slaughter from Florida being the best centers coming out in this class, and we really needed a center bad. We just lost Cade Mays. Now, we did bring somebody else in, but again, kind of like more like a role player or like just a guy not trying to be like fun. Because Luke Fortner, I believe is his name. We brought him in, and again, he's a starter. He can play in the league, but he's going to be probably a one-and-done situation. Like, probably after this year, it's going to be, Sam Heck's job to lose, essentially. So I think, to me, that's the player I realize. I think even getting Chris Brazell, like, in the 4th round, I thought that was – or in the 3rd round, I thought that was crazy. Like, I'm not going to lie, because he was getting, like, first-round hype. And a lot of people say, like, he's a one-route merchant and all that stuff. But, like, his speed is incredible. Like, we seen what he was able to do against Georgia. And even if you want to go back to when he was at Tulane, he was really good, too. Besides just running streaks. So we need somebody that can beat people downfield. That's our biggest problem on offense. We don't have anybody that can beat anybody downfield. So I think he might be another one that's going to make a pretty sizable impact for us pretty much like immediately.
Okay. So you answered my next question, so I'll just move on to the next one. So if there was one player in the draft that you were either thinking about that you wanted to have, obviously being a Clemson fan, that you were like, you know what, I wouldn't mind if he fell to the Panthers. Yeah. Who would that one player be for you?
So actually the one guy is not even a Clemson player. I love D'Angelo Pounds. I love him. Or Pons, excuse me. Yeah. From Indiana. Yeah. I think, and I know you're going to ask me another question about what teams I think killed the draft, so I'll kind of not spoil that quite yet. Okay. But I love Pounds. Like, I know he's smaller, and I think slot corner, which we did address it later on with Will Lee, the third. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest, he's not D'Angelo Pounds. Like, if D'Angelo Pons was 6'1" and maybe like 20 pounds bigger, he'd been a top 10 pick. Like, the only reason he went
easy.
Yeah, the only reason he went late is because he's like 5'9", 165 or something like that. But besides that, he's a physical corner. He's an absolute dog up front. He's not scared to come up and make a play like in the run either as a corner that small. So again, I feel like we really did need a nickel, which again we did end up dressing later on in the draft. But I'm not gonna lie, I think D'Angelo Pons has a really good chance to be a really good player. Like besides the size, like I just think he's gonna be really good. So that's a guy I'm like, and so we took Lee Hunter right before him. I think Lee Hunter was the next. Like we took Lee Hunter at 49, and I think Pounds took at 50. So I was like, dang. Well, I like Lee Hunter too. Like don't get me wrong, I feel like that's a really good pick. We needed some interior help with like losing We're losing Ashawn Robinson. We needed the interior help. But man, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping we was either gonna get a wide receiver right there. Lee Hunter was cool too. I was okay with that. Or Pounds. I keep saying Pounds. Pons.
Listen.
I really like him.
I am terrible with names. Like if you like, I'm usually like number 17, 85, 23. Like, so with names, I'm like, you're lucky if I get your first name, but I do know your jersey number. So,
exactly.
Well, let's talk about the team a little bit. So you all were in the playoffs this year. I'm sure the hope is to continue to stay kind of on an upswing, but what would success look like for you all this year?
I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is just me being real. I think 9 or 10 wins and you got to win the division. Because last year you won 8, right? You got to get to at least having a winning record this year. Anything less than that, and we've gotten better. I feel like I'll say this. I feel like everybody, and I don't want to jump into one of your later questions, but I feel like everybody in NFC South did a tremendous job in the draft. Like everybody did. But I feel like we did the best, and it's not me being biased at all. It's just me being honest. We did the best when it came to free agency and the draft. We went and got two of the 2 highest players on the defensive side of the ball, which was Devin Lloyd, who was expected to be pretty much the best linebacker coming out in this like free agent class, and then Jalen Phillips was required, and many people said was the best DN in this class of free agents. So we got both of those guys to add more to our already pretty decent defense that was pretty decent last year. So again, like I'm not gonna lie, I feel like 9-10 wins in winning the division, I feel like needs to be that's what I'm expecting from the Panthers this year. Like anything less than that, I kind of feel like they've let us down. Like I'm not gonna lie. If we don't see like at least a winning record, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. I love your call out of free agency. I thought you all did a great job in free agency. So I 100% agree with that. Is there a position group that worries you the most right now?
Oh, that's a really good question. I still think linebacker depth kind of concerns because we have Devin Lloyd, but let's say Devin Lloyd gets hurt, it's Trayvon Wallace and then a bunch of like has-beens after that. Like I am a little concerned about linebacker depth, I'll be honest. And I'm a little concerned about safety depth too, because that was another position I was kind of worried about because Nick Scott he was better last year to his defense, but still he's still someone I wouldn't want to be my starting safety, to be quite frankly honest. Not saying that he's bad, but not saying that he's terrible. He's a rotational player at best, though. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's going to kind of be getting a lot of play time, like probably with Langston and Ransom as well. But again, I would probably say if I had 2 places I'd be worried about is linebacker depth and safety, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That valid. I can see that 100%. Where is this team improved the most from last season? Where are you looking at this team and you're saying, you know what, we might have something here?
I think when you look at, again, kind of like what I was just saying, the edge rushing position. Now, we've seen that Nick Scorton he had a decent year as a rookie, but we needed somebody that was going to generate pressure. And I think Jalen Phillips will do that. Like people always say, oh, he doesn't have a whole bunch of sacks. But when you look at his pressure numbers, he's like top 15 in every pressure statistic. So he gets to the quarterback. He might not cause a sack, but we didn't even have anybody getting to the quarterback like that besides Nick Scorton last year and Derek Brown. Right. So I think this is going to help Derek Brown out. And then again, like linebacker with Devin Lloyd, that's a huge get for us. Like that was huge because I was cool with just getting just one of those guys. The fact that we got both, I'm like, oh, great. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that. And I would say, even though I talked bad about the secondary. I would say another area I feel strong about our team is the cornerback room. Like J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, very good players. Like, love them. I think they're really good. So I would say defense, really, if that makes sense. I know I'm saying a lot, but I would say definitely defensive back room. And then the addition of, Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd for sure.
I agree. Is there this isn't a question I'm prepared for, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to answer it. Is there something that you feel like you all are just like missing? Like, you know how sometimes you can look at your team and you can be like, man, we have this, we have this, we have this. We just don't have like for the Steelers, I'm like, we just don't have a quarterback. Like our quarterback play is questionable at best. What is that for you all? What's the thing where you're kind of like, man, we're just like missing this thing?
I think, and this is me being transparent, I think we're missing consistency at the quarterback position. Even though I like Bryce,
that's
we
fair.
need to see more consistency. And I think one thing that we are missing as well is a tight end, like a tight end that's going to really kind of stretch the field a little bit, which is why you probably seen a lot of Panther fans screaming for Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon, because we haven't really had a good tight end since Greg left. And it's almost been like 5 or 6 years at this point.
Yeah.
So I think tight end is something like somebody that's going to kind of stretch the field. And don't get me wrong, Trimble, again, decent tight end. Mitchell Evans, decent tight end. Jadavion Sanders, I know that's your guy. He's from Texas. He's kind of just been a project player. But I feel like we need a tight end that's going to make a difference. And hopefully, you know, maybe one of those guys just name step up this year. But I think tight end is something that does I think that's one thing that we are missing. Yeah.
Okay. Fair. What is something you think you all will do better this season than most teams?
I think we're going to be able to get at the quarterback a lot more this year. Like,
especially
if Derrick Brown can stay healthy and Jalen Phillips continues to grow. I mean, there's a reason the Eagles wanted him back. You know what I'm saying? They know ball. We all know how Howie Roseman, if they wanted him back, he something. So I think we're going to be able to get more pressure this year. And I don't think everything's going to be based off Derrick Brown. Like, I think this is going to free up a lot. So I think, like, more than usual, I think we're going to be able to get to the quarterback. I'm hoping. That's my hope, is that we're going to be able to get to the quarterback a lot more this year on the defense side of the ball. That's my hope.
Yeah. My hope for you all is I want to see a healthy Jonathan Brooks. I know he just got cleared, I think a week ago or whatever. So I hope that he can get in gear, because watching him play. It's a huge year for him.
It's a huge year for him because we're going to need him.
Yeah. He, anyways, if he can figure some things out and stay healthy.
Yeah.
I'm excited. But obviously he's been out now for, at this point, almost 2 years for obvious reasons.
2 years almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's get into a little bit of a fun round. So let's see how you feel about some of these. So your quarterback confidence on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being, please get this guy out of here ASAP, and 5 being, he can stay here forever.
I'm like a 3.5 with Bryce right now, 4, because a 3.5, but between 3.5 and 4, I'm gonna tell you why. And I kind of brought it up. When Bryce is good, he's a really solid, like, top 18 quarterback when he's good.
Okay.
But we don't get it consistently enough. Like, Bryce will turn around and have, like, for example, last year, not to ramble on, the Falcons game last year in Atlanta, he put up like 400 plus yards, like 5 times. It was amazing. Like, the best I've ever seen Bryce play. And then the next week he turns around and did like 185 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like, we just need a little bit more consistent. Not ask for 400 yards every week. We ain't ask. That's not realistic. But give me 250, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks with 21 from 32 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Bryce can give me that, I'm good. And we're winning football, I'm good with that. So I would say right now, anywhere between 3.5 to 4.
Okay. What about your coaching staff trust level on a scale of 1 to 5?
I think the coaching staff has actually did pretty good. Like, I'm starting to Canales, now that he's handing over the play calling, I feel a little bit better about it now, even more, because I think he can focus on actually just being a head coach a little bit more. And he's still new to this. I'm kind of going to go in the same path as Bryce, like 3.5, 4 level, because Canales is still a young coach. This is technically just his 3rd year. We're going into his 3rd year being a head coach. So I would say, for me, 3.5, 4 area as well. I feel like him and Bryce kind of go hand in hand at this point.
Okay. Who do you think is going to carry the team this year, offense or defense?
I think the defense carried us a lot last year, but my hope is offense. I'm gonna be transparent. My hope is that the offense does more carrying this year, because I feel like the defense did a lot of carrying last year. My hope is offense. I feel like it's going to be defense, though. I'm not going to lie. I think Evero did some really good things last year. For the year before, he was getting blasted. And I think last year they finally got him a little bit more pieces. And then this year they got him even more pieces. So I think the defense is going to probably end up carrying, but I would like for it to be the offense. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
If you could trade drafts with anyone, any drafts, so you have all of their draft picks, they get all of your draft picks, which team would you trade with and why? I feel like I know because you've named two of their, maybe even 3 of their draft picks already.
Yeah, Jets definitely. Like I like what they did. Like I think the Jets did a really good job. I think they did a really good job with getting Bailey, of course. Like I told you, I done talked about for 5 minutes how I like, Pons. They just did really good. Like I was really impressed with what the Jets did. I gotta see how that whole Cade thing works out, of course. But besides that, I feel like they did a really good job. I think the Raiders too did a good job.
Oh yeah, okay.
Raiders did a really good job.
I'm going to say, I think I could be way off on this. I could be way off. So I think Cade Klubnik might be a good pro. I could be off.
He might be. He could be. I mean,
there's just some flashes that you just usually don't see from certain quarterbacks. Now, I don't know him personally or his mindset, his mentality, his work ethic. I don't know any of those things. But there's some moments where you could, if you were watching with no sound, you didn't know the score, and you were just watching him, you could say like, oh, he does kind of look good in that pocket. Oh, well, he is kind of moving. Anyways, but that's just my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see like what he looks like.
Yeah, I mean, he has the tools, man. I mean, like we've seen it in 2024. Like he has the potential to be good, but I don't know. I just hope it. I hope it does work out for him, but I don't know. But I like what the Jets did. I like what the Raiders did. I think the Raiders did a really good job with their draft. Ravens always kill it. They always do a good job with their draft. I don't even know how I bring them up because they just do good every year. And honestly, like again, like I hate to say it, like the Saints too. Like the Saints, I like the Jordan Tyson pick. The Falcons did a really good job. Like I feel like our division in general, like Ruben Bain going to Tampa at 15 is incredible. Like they did a really good job. So I would say the NFC South, the Raiders, and the Jets. I would probably say, and the Ravens.
Okay. If your team had a "this always happens to us" moment, like we're in a game, everything's fine, and then of course this thing happens, what is that moment usually for you all?
That's a good question. I feel like we lose momentum a lot, like in big games.
That's a good one.
I think that's something that I'm gonna say that's like in the last 6 or 7 years thing. Like, for example, let's go back to the playoff game with the Rams. I was in the building for that game in Charlotte for the playoffs. The Panthers really should have won that game. I mean, honest to God, they really should have. But obviously, MVP Matthew Stafford walked them down. Nick Scott dropped the interception with like 11 minutes left in the game, which I think at that time we were up by like 10. He dropped the interception in the end zone. Like stuff like that happens, and it's like, oh, there goes Panther Bleep. Like stuff like that. So I feel like losing momentum when we need it the most is like one of the things that it comes with learning how to win. Though we haven't new regime and this new culture, like even David Tepper, he ain't never seen this team win. This year was the most he ever done seen this team win since he done been here. He's been the owner for almost 10 years almost.
That is such a good point.
I think it's just an organization that's still learning how to win. So that's what I would say.
That's a really, really good point. And the learning how to win piece of that is so important, because I think we're like that as humans too. It's like, even like I'll just use myself as like an example. There's so many things that I do sometimes. I know what it feels like to be really good at something, and so until I feel that thing, I'm like searching for it. And you're right, it does give you a different sense of like no, you got to go. Like, keep going. Like, you're close. Like, you're not there, but you're close. So that's a really, really, really good point. Good point. Okay. I like that. I love that. Look at me learning today. So then the final question is, if you could say anything to the owner, the GM, the coach, honestly, whoever you want to say anything to, what would you say to them? If you could have a conversation with anybody inside of your organization, what would you say to them?
I'm going to have a conversation with all three of them shortly. David Tepper, I'm going to continue to tell you, just stay out the way. Like, you're doing a lot better, staying out the limelight, not talking as much. You've been staying out the way, letting the football people do their football job. Continue doing that. Dan Morgan, stick to your philosophy, which he's been doing really good. I have to give him credit. Dan Morgan is definitely the best GM we've had probably since Marty Herney, honestly, to be real with you. He's done really good the last 2 years that he's been the full-on man. So I got to give him credit. His draft class last year was spectacular. We got to see how this one works out, but it looks good on paper. So keep to your philosophy. I think you're doing good. And then Dave Canales, just continue growing. Continue letting yourself grow in your role. You still kind of new to this. I think it's good that he's dishing off his responsibilities, like play calling to other people, let them do their job as well. But I think we head in the right direction. That's what I would tell all three of them. Just kind of keep what you're doing, but hone in on it even more so we can just continue treading upwards. Because this year we want 10 wins. Next year, we don't want to start this to be in the norm. Like, let's become kind of like the Eagles. We in the mix every year. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think we heading in the right direction, but we just got to keep going. But that would be my message kind of to everybody.
Okay, that's fair. Well, thank you for doing this. I felt the last time I talked to you, we talked about Clemson. And so it's nice to, I love whenever I get to talk to people for like different things, but it's still the same sport. It's the best thing about sports just in general is the togetherness we get to have around a common thing. And I love that. And so thank you for just being willing to talk to me. And nobody will know this behind the scenes, short notice, all of the things. I appreciate that. So, and then I'll end on you. Whatever you want to say, we'll end with you. And then all of your information, whatever you want me to put, will be in the description so that everybody can find you easy and just click on your stuff. But anything you want to say, we'll end with you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, once again, I appreciate you for having me. Thank you for having me come on. Just wanted to shout out, if y'all want to follow me on social media, she'll have that on here. But it's going to be pretty much AO_TTime9 on every social media. Also, me and my boy Cam, we got a podcast page, which we got to get you on there. We got to bring you. This before football season, we're going to bring you on. We have to. We'll talk about it later on down the line. But we definitely got to bring you on. Yeah. We got to bring you on. But we have a podcast, Cam and T Podcast. Y'all come check us out over there as well, too. When y'all not watching this show, y'all come check us out. So just appreciate you for having me again. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon.